over Fnatic.
And if we really take a look at Fnatic's comp here, there's no tank from them. You're running Rek'Sai, one of their junglers left, which obviously benefits from her early aggression. Needs to snowball as a jungler, or she gets outskilled by these Cinderhulk junglers like Gragas in terms of team fights. You have the Vladimir, who's going to go for Outlast, who's going to go somewhat tanky in that sense. He might not even go Outlast in this game here. There's quite a lot of magic damage from H2K, but we typically see it. So you're not a massive tank there either. And the only protection there is for him is Yellow Star for Steelback as his Jinx. So late game, H2K has so much to dive onto him and so little to protect him from Fnatic. That's very, very scary.
He runs right into Odoamne here, and Lulex as well. He's going to be in some serious trouble. He's going to pool immediately, level 1ing that one, and Rainover runs in.
I want to force him to flash.
Run in interference, and yes, Huni's going to have to pop his flash. Not the greatest way to start your game.
Look at Huni and the player camp here. Not happy about that one. Not the same player we've seen all split long as in this series here against H2K. Anyhow, again, the comp from Fnatic, in order for Febiven to be useful, he has to win his laning phase. Otherwise, the Diana can't beat him late game in split push. So he's not going to offer anything there. And in terms of late game team fights, while there's not a whole lot of protection for Yharnam, the QSS will stop Febiven from killing him. And then suddenly you lose your purpose as a Zed. If you cannot split push and win that way, if you cannot dive the backline either, you don't offer a whole lot. And again, there's so little protection for Steelback. If H2K gets a good lead and gets these two tanks rolling, they're going to make it impossible for Steelback to do anything. So, mid lane matchup as well. Diana can start club 5. Zed will always go for the long sword 3 potions. And then we just see these early trades here where this is so good for Diana because she can keep getting these hits on the minions. So she stacks up her passive. And then she simply just sits on it and says, okay, you want to come trade with me? I'm going to smack you in the face with my passive every single time. Do a lot of damage on it. Obviously, she's less mobile, which means you can't gank her, which is what we're going to have to see from Rainover. He has to be so active on this Rek'Sai to snowball Fnatic in this early game. Otherwise, because they're not running double tank, they can struggle late in the game.
Let's take a look at how the top's going. He already still taking some damage. Odoamne got that level 2, of course, after clearing the Wolf camp. Sion style. I'm really curious to see how this one goes. He started with the boots. Boots and pots, I believe it's referred to.
Boots and pots, it is indeed. Well, Odoamne can push the lane in the early levels where Vladimir doesn't have enough damage to really push it back. Obviously, Vladimir scales so well.
You can see it changing already, though. Obviously.
Well, Vladimir scales so well with his levels. You got to get that level 9 for rank 5 of your Q, lower the cooldown and everything, and the sustain you're going to offer from it. But it's not a lane where Odoamne is going to be able to do a whole lot in terms of, like, there's no kill pressure, really. It's going to be a bit of a farm fest for him. And we're going to have to see what the junglers are going to do instead. We talked about how Rainover has to focus on the mid lane. It's a good way of shutting down Diana. And if Diana falls behind, it's so hard for you to do well in fights. Because you dive in and you're too squishy, you don't have enough damage to really kill anyone. First gank might come in. Rainover is there, so is Lulex.
Looking to collapse here. Febiven already making his escape, but Rhea may not be so lucky. Febiven coming right back on forward. Rainover a little bit low in this one, and they both decide to back it out. Close calls once again. Not as close as we may have seen last game, though.
Yeah, flash blown from Lulex. He's at Gragas. You're not that strong in skirmish. You just offer a whole lot of CC here in the early stages of the game. Now, Rainover is not done. You can see in your minimap, he's staying around this mid lane. They want to try and shut down Ryu early. It is the game plan for them. If Vladimir sits on her own against the Zion, that's fine for them. Just let Huni pick up the farm he can. If Steelback gets a farm lane against Yharnam and Kissing on the bottom side as well, that's cool for Fnatic. In this sense, it's the mid lane that has to get the lead.
Mid lane indeed. Takes the tool out. They have been at each other's throats down there, but I feel like it's going to be a couple more levels before it really starts to turn deadly. We haven't really talked about the bot lane too much. It's been pushing in H2K's favor. Rainover's going to start favoring it now. And he moves in, sets up the pink ward, makes sure he's not sighted. Yharnam. Oh, flash play and ignite from Yellowstar. That means Kissing and Yharnam could be in some trouble, but all that, the damage really wasn't there. But Kasing is now caught in a line who is also going to have to flash his way over the chopper. So they net themselves about 3 summoners for 2.
Yeah, nice little gang from Fnatic, but also well played from H2K. You saw Yarnen, he flashed into the minion wave, so the hook from the Yellow Star wouldn't land onto him. Meanwhile, Lulex sees an opportunity to go in for some jungle because Rek'Sai has been spotted on the bottom side of the map as well for him. We keep talking about how this mid lane is the important one. Ryu has the wave in the perfect spot for him. He can't really be ganked this close to the lane. Febiven has to overextend a little bit to try and push it into the tower, and you still have a few potions left to sit there with your cloth armor. So he's obviously going to go for early arm guards once he goes back to base. Lulex now spotted on the top side. Not a whole lot of kill pressure for him in any lane, honestly, on this Gragas. He should just focus on farming early on here, where Reno is the one who has to make the plays. He might be able to pull it off here.
Gets pushed back, though, by Kasing, and there is a stun up as well. Reno actually quite low, and he has to back away. So once again, H2K fended off this attempt. Lulex continuing to roll through his own jungle. Rainover will have to take it back as soon as he clears this one.
And the reason Rainover is ganking the bottom lane at the moment is because the mid lane was stuck outside, just outside the tower of Ryu. So there was no ganking opportunity for him there. And therefore had to look elsewhere. And he knows he has to make plays on the Rek'Sai, obviously. And he's been doing it 3 ganks already, forced quite a few summoners. Just hasn't been able to pull it off completely and get a kill. Lulex keeps looking for something in his top lane against Huni on this Vladimir. Diving is going to be fairly risky. Yep. All in, though, in the mid lane.
Yep, Febiven throws down the death mark, moves in on Ryu, but he doesn't have enough damage to polish him off. Meanwhile, Lulex is going to go ahead and back to base.
Notice how Febiven wasn't going purely for the kill here. He didn't pop any summoners to try and see how low he could get Ryu. Instead, he ulted him to force him back to base, where Ryu can now push in the wave beforehand and deny some farm from Ryu here. That's why Febiven went for the all-in and didn't use any summoners. Just wanted to force him back to base. Try and control the pace and control the back timings in this mid lane here. Ryu will lose just 1 minion. He should be able to return for this cannon here. So not losing a whole lot, and he can now try and push it back the other way and see if he can deny anything from Febiven. Obviously Cutlass as well on the Z here, so you need that for your all-in potential. Always better than Brutalizer when it comes to all-in because of the 100 magic damage you get, and also the lifesteal is super good for you when you have all these traits for farm.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about Huni, although it's spell vamp for him. He has been pushed pretty far back on farm up in that top side. He's going to be uncontested for just a moment. But back in mid, yeah, Febiven, he's going to be the one trying to push back this wave now. And seems like it's going to be this way for a little while unless they check into a brush. H2K hanging 3 members deep here, hoping that Febiven starts to wonder, well, Ryu's already back, so.
I really wish Lulex was just sitting and farming. Your lanes have done a fantastic job avoid dying. Yet you're still behind, even though you haven't pulled off any ganks anywhere. You had the one in mid lane, which was counter gank, you had to flash away. You're sitting 20 CS at the moment, 10 CS behind the Rek'Sai. You're gonna outscale her anyway. Work around vision as a jungler then, and sit and farm, and just try and secure your lanes by placing down a few wards so you spot the Rek'Sai. And otherwise, let them play the game they're playing right now. Yannick Kasing has to be very careful though, they cannot overextend here.
Greyseeker hits Kasing in the back. Yarnen goes down the ooze, gets caught by the hook. They won't be able to take him in.
And once again, H2K do a very good job disengaging. And they're just wasting Rainover's time, who still can just go back and farm though, because Lulex is once again looking for a gank. He's not even level 6 on this Gragas. You want to play like this, pick Nidalee.
Yeah, I was a little bit curious here. Has been a bit of misfiring, I think, on all sides. Huni still having a rough time dealing with Odoamne. Kept up in levels at the very least. And he's got his sustain from the Hextech Revolver.
Yeah, Odoamne's really been controlling the lane so well, always pushing it in, denying farm from Huni, who's clearly missed quite a lot of CS on the tower as well. But it is one of these lanes.
Oh,
wow, he stole it.
Gets one back.
Beautiful steal from him. But again, nice. One of these lanes here, once Vladimir gets level 9, he can really start just sustaining himself in the lane. He can start clearing with the E as well. So he's going to be fine Obviously, you don't want to fall this far behind, but it's not like Stein is going to have any chance of killing the Vladimir.
No, but he can definitely keep him from farming up for quite a while. So as you mentioned earlier, really a no kill pressure lane, but nonetheless, a lane that is going to be a little bit difficult for Huni, and he's definitely not had the greatest best of 5 as he could have so far. Fnatic will need to get his head back in the game if they want to keep their finals dreams alive.
Lulix has hit level 6 now. He's looking for another one up in his top lane. Rek'Sai is ready for the counter gank. Ryu, oh, he can jump on.
In. He's gonna try to dash his way out of stage. Oh, the flash too!
Nice,
and he gets
first
popped
blood.
for first blood. Febivin gets it all.
Gets everything here. Such a nice play from him. Meanwhile, in the top lane.
Oh, to Wamne, there's the Hemo Plague on him as Rainover helps out Huni. Still not enough damage. Huni going really, really low. Lulix coming in for the counter gank. Will he have enough, however? Rainover pops up. Barrel's going to slow him down. The body slam not going to connect thanks to the flash, but they forced the use of it. H2K should be okay with that one.
Yeah. Really, really big plays from Febivin in the mid lane. We know Zed is fantastic for him among nearly every single assassin in the game. But him getting this kill is so important. We've said it time and time again. He's the guy who needs to snowball in this matchup here. He needs to be so much stronger than that compared to Ryu, that simply there's no fight to be taken in a split push. And then suddenly the Zed can start dictating the pace of the map because he can push down the waves. He can then roam between the lanes, go for potential dives, or even keep killing Ryu in the one-on-ones. So this is such an important pick for Fnatic. And off to a great start. Winning in farm. You now have Brutalize. You're going to go for that last Whisper as well. Super fit on Zed already.
CS advantage coupled with that kill is definitely going to make it hard for Ryu to trade out. Forget he was able to snipe the blue buff away too, so already frustrating Ryu in this game. Picks up his own now as he gets ready to head back to lane. No dragons have really been eyeballed. It's been about 12 minutes into the game. Another low kill score so far, but H2K, they want this pace. However, they are falling further and further behind in this time around.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fnatic obviously need items on the Zed first before they can start split pushing with him or roaming between the lanes, and that's what they're waiting for. And then we can see Febivin start simply moving around the map after here, as long as they're doing fine in the other side lanes. Huni is still a little bit too far behind his bot lane, but they're trying another
down.
gank.
There's the Tippers as well. Kasing and Yarnin both run on to the Flame Chompers as Otawamne teleports in to try and push them all back. He's tanking up all the tower damage. And no one will go down there, but it was a close call once again.
Yeah, TP blown now. When he didn't have his, he'd used it back to base beforehand. H2K looking to get this tower down instead. It's what they always like to do around this 12-13 minute mark. You simply make a power play, you invest more members than Fnatic has to defend it, and you just destroy the tower. Now they can either go for a dragon after, or they can decide to reset the whole thing and swap Yana and Kasing to the top side and play against Huni here to get pressure on that tower, and that's how you start aiming for them. But this mid lane is such a big problem. After that kill, Ryu's just falling even further behind. Let's see what happens here. Otawamne is
going to get juked.
Yeah, big time.
And the rest of Fnatic are there, so H2K don't take either option. Otawamne could be in some trouble. He's going to be able to walk away. Lulix may not be quite so fortunate as Huni polishes off a tower in the top. So even though H2K were able to get the tower take there, Fnatic answer back, and now they're in the position to start the dragon.
Yeah, should be able to pick it up. 2 guys recalling from H2K here. 3 guys now. This is going to be a dragon for Fnatic. They got the top tower as well, and nobody died. So they trade towers and pick up a dragon. Definitely in favor of them. Also, look at the wave on the bottom lane. That's going to be pushing up, I believe, towards H2K. So that's a wave Otawamne can pick up. And now we see the move from Yarnin and Kasing, swapping up the lanes a little bit, moving mid instead. There's also what you do sometimes if you fear for your AD carry that he's going to get ganked and killed, or he's going to get in like a one-on-one situation against the Zed, then you put him mid lane with his support, and that's a very short lane, so it's easy for you to come down or back down to your own tower, and you can safely sit and farm, or you don't have to worry about being stuck in a side lane and suddenly killed by an assassin who comes in. So that's basically what H2K is doing, and trying to get some pressure on this mid tower at the same time.
They'll be able to do it. Sing this time barely left Yarnin alone. Small wonder with the Kog'Maw, but it does somewhat hinder what we'd seen him doing a lot during the regular split, which was attempting to roam around a lot on this Annie. And H2K, they've definitely changed up their playstyle to adapt to what Fnatic does. I mean, this is one of the reasons why they've been in this situation, despite the first game being anything but ordinary.
Yeah,
they're in a good situation overall, even if this game, in this lead, is still Fnatic's. They have to deal with the Zed, though.
Yeah, no matter what happens here in this series, in this game, these two teams are just fantastic stories, honestly. Fnatic losing 4 members, only Yellow Stars stayed. Completely new team, a lot of rookies coming in. I mean, Huni was straight out of solo queue in Korea, was on the practice team of Samsung. And that was it, never played OGN or anything. Into the LCS with him, they got Raynova, could be a bit of a translator for him. And then H2K on their side. I mean, Ryu itself, the guy who struggled in Europe to do anything because he simply couldn't communicate properly. And I saw an interview with Prolly where he talked about how Kasing joining was fantastic for the team because Kasing offered so much communication that made it easier for everyone else to play because they didn't have to worry too much about timers and everything because that was Kasing's job. And then the second big thing for them was that Ryu just got better and better at communicating. He got to learn the phrases and the terms you use in the game. And that suddenly allowed him also to become a bit of a shot caller. He used to be one of the main shot callers for KT Bullets when he played in Korea. Now that he can communicate properly, he can make some calls, he can make some plays, and he's super, super smart, and that's helped H2K, together with Kasing joining. Suddenly everyone just got to the next level in terms of the shot calling for them, which is what they've been playing around so well the last few weeks.
Right, and it is really, really interesting when you see the trajectories of the two. You know, one team coming out of the Challenger Series, managing to, you know, get as far as they have and on the cusp of making a finals appearance in their debut split. And then Fnatic, a team that, you know, basically reformed under Yellow Star's leadership and has become this whole new power that nobody really expected. I mean, this has just been amazing how the trajectory's gone, but let's see what happens here. Ryu might have bitten off more than he could chew here, but maybe he can find Rainover. Not quite enough. And Rainover is able
meanwhile though,
that one.
Here's the thing. H2K has 3 guys in the mid lane, so they're gonna push in on these towers. Lulek's getting caught.
Tower's down though. Lulek's trying to away the rocket. Will whiz by his left ear. All right, I should say. Huni flashing in. Yellow Star's one that is going to pick up that kill, however. Kasing now. Deathmark is on to Yarnin. Enough damage. That will be Kasing is just getting chased around. Febivin comes up with the double kill. And just like that, 3 more members of H2K down, and it might be some tower pushing time.
This is what happens now when you're starting to lose your side lanes. We saw Febivin from that bottom lane. He could just roam freely from the bottom side up to mid lane and join his team. Same happened with Huni in the top lane after the kill onto Ryu here. H2K is suddenly collapsing. And the entire map is now open. You got a 3-0 Z that nobody can do anything against. Meanwhile, even Huni gets a few because this is such a good setup by Yellow Star and Steelback. Yes, they lose the tower, but by getting Lulek so low, it's super easy. Look at the minimap now. Huni roam from top lane and then Febin roaming from the bottom lane. Nothing the members in H2K can do after they already got caught on the tower. And they would just end up dying, all of them.
The single target Tibbers on Huni too. It was a bit of a panic moment, I feel like. There just really wasn't anything that they could do after that. And it was just clean up city. Rainover was coming around the side anyways. So just like that, Fnatic have gotten themselves out to an impressive lead. There's going to be another minute and 10 seconds until the Dragon comes up. They've already secured the first one. But if Fnatic can keep forcing H2K to start fights, whether they're disadvantageous or not, I feel like they can definitely outplay thanks to Febib and Zed right now.
Oh, for sure.
The rest of the members have been positioned quite well.
Fnatic should just stick to 1-3-1. The Sign is never going to be able to do anything against Zed. It's just a matter of time before Febib might even be able to jump onto Odoamne and kill him. And then that bot lane tower is suddenly open. Otherwise, you force Sign to sit back and defend his own tower, and you just keep roaming like Febivin is doing now. He gets another pick.
Another death mark on to Kasing. This time, the Tibbers lands on him. Febivin shadow steps back. Yarnin, though, is going to be the target. The rocket won't hit him. Meanwhile, a shutdown goes over to Odoamne as he picks off Febivin. Huni is going to finish off Yarnin, however. Steelback trying to move away the Acathian. Surprise, a ton of damage there, and a double kill comes in for Odoamne. The fight's going haywire. It's been a 2-for-2 so far with a double kill onto Huni, looking for even more, but Ryu wasn't finished off there. And the Praise Seeker doesn't hit either. Misfires in all directions, but maybe they can pick off Odoamne finally. 3 members of Fnatic collapsing on him. The barrel comes out to push him away. Will it be enough to save Odoamne's life?
Oh.
No, it won't, because the hook comes in and he goes down.
So Fnatic in the end here ends up winning the fight. It was a bit harder than expected, but we saw the same play. You push the 2 side lanes from Huni and Febiven, and then you just roam before H2K to that mid lane here where the fights are starting. Febiven coming in at first. Good stun from Kasing onto him here, stopping a lot of the damage and forcing him to go back. TP behind from Odoamne, but now, as you can see, Huni is about to join, and while they get a good pick on Febiven, damage is running out for H2K. Janan ends up going down, another kill for the Vladimir. And we can see the playstyle from Fnatic and how hard it is for H2K to do anything because they're not strong enough in the side lanes to stop them from just keep pushing them down, push on the minions to roam in mid.
Now that being said, H2K were able to salvage some kills out of that situation. I feel like also they didn't lose as many members. It just seemed that Fnatic misprioritized where they were going. They didn't finish off exactly where they needed to, so Ryu made it out alive after that. But all the same, they secure themselves a dragon here. They're up several kills, they're up several thousand gold. And yeah, it really is. The side lane pressure is not working in H2K's favor until maybe now when Yarnan brings a big wave up there, Kasing at his back, but it looks like we could have a collapse on our hands. Steelback's there to try and push him away, but won't be able to in time.
So what H2K did here is what you have to do if you're falling this far behind and you cannot team fight over objectives, is you trade. So when they go for Dragon, you push a top wave and you take that one down, because there's obviously not enough members to defend it. And that's exactly what H2K pulled off here. Problem is, look at your minimap once again. Huni and Febiven is on their way, picking a fight on the way as well.
Oh, Lulex tries to knock him back. Ryu also very low. Febiven has turned his attention there. And now back to the top side. We'll see what can happen as the rocket isn't needed. Febiven comes with a pick on Kasing, but he still gets a kill onto Ryu. Oh boy.
Fnatic is getting everything. They're getting everything. H2K tried to do what they could do here and trade the tower for that dragon. Maybe try and get a second one on the bottom side. But all the kills are going over to Fnatic. They keep roaming around the map. It's all started with this Zed being so strong. Solo killing Ryu in the mid lane. As Dalo is sitting and watching the game as well. We might go to game 5 here, Pyra.
We very
Unless
well
Fnatic manage to mess this one up, then we will go to
Let's see what just happened, though. I mean, that was crazy.
So, Odoamne is stuck in the bottom lane. There's only 4 guys from H2K here. Huni spots them at first. Obviously, 2-on-2 fight is heavily in favor of Fnatic, while the rest of the team will get a pick on the Kasing. He flashes, and then Steelback, I believe it's like, he would almost hit Kasing. Oh, he would actually have hit him. And then he gets another one. And then you get Baron as well for them.
Well, at least Lulex made it out. So Fnatic now definitely controlling the pace of this game. They secure the Baron, of course. Set their sights on the bottom lane as Odoamne runs back to his inner turret. Should be no sweat for Fnatic to mop this one up. Get excited for Steelback, and they keep on moving. See if they can take another tower.
Huni's been getting so many kills here. Despite falling behind in his lane, he's just been able to come down and clean up the fights for himself. Febiven obviously done the same for him. And now you got this Jinx suddenly positioned on a tower where there's no real threat of H2K engaging. And they will just end up dying. It's It's
not a full siege comp, but whenever you have a Jinx and a front line...
It is by no means a siege comp.
Definitely
but yes,
still
you got
siege.
Jinx. I'll give you that. You have the Jinx to push down towers. I mean, the whole setup for Fnatic is that Febiven is going to kill someone one-on-one, and then H2K has to send down a second guy to defend the lane, and then suddenly the Jinx can move into a tower and start hitting it because there's only 3 guys from H2K on that side of the map.
Exactly. They don't need a tanky frontline because they've got so many damage threats that H2K can't go in there safely anyways. Lulex caught on a hook. Odoamne moves forward, but there's a flash out of Steelback. As Fnatic regroups to try and still pick away at this tower. We'll see what they're able to get done. Still got the Baron-empowered minions here. Hook's going to connect on Odoamne. They throw down the Flame Chompers. His health bar starts to go down. Not fast enough, however. The siege will continue with the Baron-empowered cannon minion.
No flash.
Not quite dead yet.
No flash focusing, so he can't start the fight. You have no ulti from Odo Armor, so he can't do it either. Lulex is the only one to try and shoot someone back. There's no flash for Steelback. That can be the way for H2K to start it, but it's going to be so hard.
There we go.
Fnatic, yeah. Huni.
He went around the side. He is able to force H2K back. They take themselves another tower. One sends out a big Roar of the Slayer to try and push them and push a minion back into him. Fnatic, I think, have had enough for now. They will back to base with a lot of gold in their pockets.
A lot of gold, and still a Zed that can do whatever he wants on the map. Nobody can stop Febiven in this game here. They won't be able to for another 10-15 minutes at least. Diana, he will eventually do well, but not when you've been set this far behind, as Rio has here in this game. Lulex as well is playing this super weird on the Gragas. Just the early game for him, he kept looking for ganks when he had no lanes to gank properly. Like, you don't have to try and force a play, just farm. And yeah, I mean, he has the Syndicate completed, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, and he built it on a Hunter's Machete, too. It's even stranger if he was trying to go for... himself get so far behind to Rainover when Rainover wasn't being super effective to start this one off is a little strange. We'll see what happens here, though. Odoamne goes in, gets caught on the retreat path and pulled in, but he flashes. May not live, though. The rocket hits him in the back of the head. He'll try to cause some havoc as the rest of Fnatic move forward, but Yellowstar might have been a little bit too hasty. Odoamne's secondary will finally go down as Ryu chases through, steal back, and it's going to be Lulex picking him up, but Ryu not quite done just yet. Lulex trying to bait a little bit more out as Yellowstar is fighting with Ryu here. He's going to be able to pick him off, though. Just enough health reserves, and it is a 4-for-1 going over to Fnatic. Daylor cracks a smile after that fight. I would, too.
He's ready for Game 5 now, and I think Fnatic has finally realized that Lee Sin top is not the way to go for them. Looking a lot better in this game here. Obviously, the entire early game has been in their favor, with starting with Febiven being an absolute monster on this Zed. Still chasing Lulex. Run around for a while.
Not if he's on the hook, but he does juke Rainover for just a minute. There's Lulex going down. Took him a little while. Meanwhile, Dragon's back up. So now Fnatic, again, this will be their third. But let's see this fight again.
We see here why Thresh with Jinx is so good, because you offer her this escape tool with the Lantern so she can get out of bad situations. And now, Odoamne just caught. There's nothing you can do at this point. You get to execute in the very end from Steelback. Gets excited. And while Ryu can dive on and kill Steelback here, the rest of the team, I mean, if you look at the back here in H2K, they're just going to get destroyed by Febiven and Huni in the end. Even gets all the minions for himself.
Farming while fighting. That's what you call multitasking, Deficio. Yeah, with that, they pick up another Dragon. That is their number 3. As Febiven has a little chuckle. They know. They suspect strongly that this is going to another game. 28.5 minutes in. Fnatic holding a massive edge over H2K.
And really not a whole lot H2K can do at this point, because you need time. It's the only way of starting winning fights later is by getting tanky enough on the Gragas and the Scion. Getting Yarnan obviously up to a point where he can become a hyper carry, and Fnatic's not going to give you that time. They can start setting up Barons, force you into a team fight there, give you over the Baron, and then suddenly your base is going to be open because you still can't do anything against the Zed. So H2K now has to start deciding, when do we just switch off and discuss what's going to happen in the last game. The all-important one. H2K will be on the red side, Fnatic will be on the blue side. And last time that happened, we had a Nunu first pick from them, from Fnatic side. We saw the Gragas again from Lulex. None of the first picks has been the big ones in this series here. Nobody has had like one pick.
Yarnan.
That was super needed, and yeah. I think he was walking in to try and scrying up on the Baron.
Now, Baron's still a few seconds away. It looks like that won't be for much longer. Fnatic immediately turned for it as they've scared H2K senseless. They only need 3 members here. They've got enough damage between Steelback and Rainover. Yellowstar is going to pull his way in as well. It's just starting to evaporate very quickly. They've got the split going from Febiven on the bottom side. Yeah, definitely H2K thinking about this next game more than anything else. We'll see how that one does go. But for now, it continues. They've got a Baron buff. Febevin actually cancels his back here. He still turns around because he sees many members of H2K coming up through the lane.
Game was very even in the early game until Febevin got that one kill. That was really what started the whole snowball. Because suddenly Fnatic were forcing plays in other lanes. And with that play H2K made in the bottom side, where they teleported down with Odoamne to take the tower, Huni got a lot of farm, got a tower in the top lane as well from it, and suddenly these outer turrets just started falling. And H2K ran out of options and were forced into fights by Fnatic.
Yeah, and it just kind of started snowballing from there. They've been able to amass themselves a serious gold lead in this one. Well over 10,000, about 16 at this point. And counting. Steelback just gobbles up farm through the H2K jungle. They set their sights on the top lane. Let's see what they can get done here. Things getting knocked down. Steelback. Yellow Star in the front. Gathering up a little bit of aggro, and let's see what they can make happen here. H2K in mass to defend. There are Baron-empowered minions here. He's going to take a little bit of damage. Flame Choppers are down to deter Yarnan from going any closer. Staying on rocket form. Steelback still gets some serious damage, but he takes a lot in return.
This is the chance.
This is the chance. Hemoplague's been thrown down. Huni going really low as he pulls away, hoping to get out from Ryu, but he's going incredibly low. Lulex, he could go down. Yes, he does. It's Rainover picking it up, and he's running wild in the back. Huni has managed to stay alive. Febevin gets the Timbers on him as he flashes forward to try and pick up Kasing and avoid the Acathian surprise, and it's a double kill going over to Rainover. Odoamne caught in a hook, forced to retreat from his own base. Fnatic train wrecking through H2K's base, and 32 minutes into this game, we'll see how it goes with the rest of the Nexus turrets falling, but Deficio, Fnatic out really wanting this one. Looks like we're going to game number 5.
Yeah, and unlike that game 2 where Fnatic still managed to win, they did